Hoje eu vim na Royal Canin conversar com o médico veterinário Alex German. Ele que é da Universidade de Liverpool e especialista em obesidade de cães e gatos. A entrevista com o Dr. Alex German foi feita toda em inglês porque ele é da Inglaterra. Mas se você quiser, é só ativar a legenda no botão aqui embaixo. So Alex, first of all, I want to thank you very much for this interview.
No problem. It's a pleasure.
Okay, so first of all, what is the real problem about being fat for a cat and a dog?
Yeah. I think traditionally many owners and many people have always seen being a little bit overweight as not a major concern. In fact, sometimes they like to think of it a dog or cat that's fat as cute or cuddly. The reality is far from that, unfortunately. We now know through scientific studies that there are a number of problems that are associated if, as a cat or dog, you're overweight. So firstly, we know that dogs that are overweight tend to live a shorter life, about 2 years on average. We also know there are a number of other diseases that can develop if you are a cat or dog that's overweight. And if you have a second disease and you're fat, unfortunately that disease is worse. So the signs, the impact is much worse because of the extra weight. And then one final thing which I think is vital is that we now also understand that quality of life is far poorer. So it's not just about health, it's the fact that our pets unfortunately are suffering if they're overweight.
And what kind of disease do the dogs and cats can have?
So the big one for dogs is arthritis and also other types of joint and bone disease. We also have issues with diabetes in dogs and diabetes in cats. In fact, diabetes, that's the big one as a cat. There are also links to things like breathing problems and also certain sorts of cancer. So just like with people where there are many disease associations, we find the same true in dogs and cats.
And you said that fat cats and dogs are not very happy and don't have a really quality of life.
Absolutely.
But many owners think that the fat cat or dog are happier. And what do you say to this owner that think like this?
Yeah. I mean, I think nothing can be further from the truth, first and foremost. I think people, they don't quite realize the impact that obesity is having. I think one reason for that is that it develops very, very slowly. So owners get used to how their pet is. It also comes on typically during the sort of early middle-aged years. And it's a time when owners maybe think, oh yes, my dog or cat is slowing down, not as active, but then they're not a kitten or a puppy anymore. So they think it's perfectly normal. They see them sleeping more and resting. And of course, there's this love of food, so everything they see seems like a happy, contented patient. But we know, particularly dogs, they need to be out and about, active, exercising, and cats too. So I think the challenge is really trying to reset in the mind of the owner what is normal. And I have to say there's no easy way of doing that. I think you have to, sometimes I think showing them examples of before and after can help, or having other owners maybe who have realised their pet is overweight and gone through a programme and can talk through their experiences, those sort of things can happen. But sometimes it can be a real challenge to convince an owner there is a real problem there.
And how can I look to my dog and say, he's fat or he's not fat? What's the characteristics?
Okay, yeah. There's a very simple way of telling, and that is looking at body shape. So as a veterinarian, we would do an assessment called a body condition score. So what we do is we inspect with our eyes and we inspect with our hands, and we're looking for certain changes in shape that reveal that a dog or cat is overweight. Now, an owner can do that as well. Unfortunately, we have a number of studies that show that owners, I'm afraid, see their cat or dog as slimmer than they truly are. So their mind has adjusted, unfortunately. So I guess my advice, if you're an owner, is seek advice from your vet, because the vet can give the best guidance.
And why are so many dogs and cats that are obese?
Well, it's a really complicated problem. If you make it simple, it's to do with imbalance of energy. So the cats and dogs are eating more calories than they are using in terms of their activity. The trouble is, as I've said, it comes on so slowly. That means that we don't spot it as it happens, and so it can creep up on us, and it's only when it's too late that we realise. There are many factors associated with obesity, so many risks, and different patients have different ones. There are also lots of links with people and their pets. So we know obesity is a growing problem in people. One of the things within families is that obesity runs in a generation. So we find parents have overweight children. We also know that owners have overweight pets. So if they're overweight, their pet is overweight too. And the link, I think, is very much within the family unit. People are seeing their pets as another child often. And so if there's this link between parent obesity and children obesity, the link is very similar between an owner and a pet.
And do neutered dogs and cats have more chance to get fat than the others that are not neutered?
Yeah. Certainly neutering is a risk factor, although not neutering your cat or dog isn't a solution, because we do still see the problem. In terms of the reason for there being the association, the recent studies indicate that neutering changes the behaviour of the pet. So it tends to make them more hungry and more keen to seek food on the one hand, and also less active on the other hand. So what it actually does is alter that energy balance, again making it more likely to gain weight.
And why do your patients go to the university, to your clinic, and how they get to your clinic?
Okay, yeah. So the clinic I run is a specialist obesity or weight management clinic, and it is based at our university's teaching hospital. And that's a referral hospital in much the same way as a human hospital takes cases from general practitioner doctors. So all our cases come from another vet. Typically a vet in another practice has recognised a problem and then has recommended that the owner come to seek our advice. And a lot of what we do with that owner is building their trust and a relationship with them, explaining the process and making sure they're truly happy to be on board, because success really only comes if the owner is very much into making a difference.
And how is this process with the owner? Do he takes class, or what kind of process is this?
Well, everything is done on an individual basis. So right at the time we make that first appointment with them, I have a veterinary nurse, a technician who works with me, and she will call the owner and just try to start building that relationship. We have a website with lots of information, so we can direct them there so they can learn a little bit. And before they even come to visit us, we send them a questionnaire so we can get a little bit of information about them, their family and their pets, and that really helps us. From the time they visit us, then it's just lots of detailed medical assessments to check out the patient. We also have a special machine that tells us body fat. It's a machine called DEXA, or dual energy X-ray absorptiometry, so it's a very specialist technique. But the main thing really is finding a program based on a diet and exercise that will work for that cat or dog and that owner, and then following them through the process.
E essa foi a primeira parte da entrevista com o Dr. Alex German. A segunda parte na semana que vem, não perca!